All right. Hey, folks, what is going on? Let me bring down the music a little bit and get my screen fixed here for y'all.
Hey, what's up? It's I have vacation day today, so I'm gonna be going to the dentist in a few hours. So I figure let's do some lunch stream stuff. I'll be back on my hair. I bathed, so my hair's all wibbly. Barf. Anyway, so I'll be doing some game design here for Dungeons and Dragons with Magic the Gathering. We're converting the Unearthed Arcana that came out last week. The Mystic Subclasses. We already converted the Warrior of the Mystic Arts into the Martial Powers version that we've created for the Monk. The project, the basis of the Martial Powers project is to give all character classes, all the martial classes in the game, a mana pool and a list of prepared options, just like casters have. So the barbarian, fighter, monk, and rogue basically become half casters with an alternate magic system based on martial powers from 3rd and 4th edition, updated to 5e. Also, the paladin, ranger, and artificer that are already half casters can either just continue using the spells that they normally have, but can also prepare the powers that martials can use. Warlocks can also prepare spells or powers as they wish, but if they prepare powers, they use the half casting progression. So like at 9th level, a warlock could cast 5th level spells or channel 3rd rank powers, but it creates a much deeper option for Gish building and multi-classing. All 14, including the Scion, all 14 character classes in this document have already been translated into the color mana paradigm, where the 8 schools of magic and spell slots are replaced with a 5-color magic paradigm from the MtG game, Magic the Gathering card game that Wizards also owns. And the spell points that you gain to cast spells or channel powers are also devoted to color, either just narratively or as a hard mechanic of each spell point in your pool is assigned or devoted to a specific color. So if I want to throw a fireball, it's a 3rd level spell, it's red, it's a red magic spell. So I need to spend 3 mana and 1 point has to be red. So if like I'm playing like say a Boros paladin, I'll be operating inside of the white and red mana paradigm. So the spells that are naturally devoted to white, like healing magic and protection stuff, and spells that are devoted to red, like a lot of the smite spells that the paladin gets. Paladin is very naturally coded to white and red magic. But if you wanted to get access to like Counterspell, which is naturally a blue spell in Magic the Gathering, the Boros character doesn't have access to blue magic. So for me to use Counterspell as a white-red character, I would either need to use downtime activity and learn the spell and add it to either my spell book as a wizard or add it to my repertoire of spells that I could prepare. And when I research it, it could be blue because that's its natural color, but when I research it, I could then change it to white or red. All the bonus spells that a subclass gets, like in the instance here of the paladin, when you get bonus spells as a subclass, regardless of what its natural devoted color is, if you were to prepare it, bonus spells can always be any color that you want. So if I had like a Golgari character that was playing a spell guard paladin, then all these spells, detect magic, shield, see invisibility, silence, counter spell, dispel magic, blah blah blah. Since Golgari is green and black, your character casting these bonus spells specifically could be cast as green or black. Because my character is Golgari, so my subclass is automatically coded to that black-green color flavor as well. But if I was like a Simic character, which is blue and green, I would also have access to the same list of bonus spells, but instead of Golgari's black and green, I would be casting it as Simic using blue or green. So like Counterspell is naturally a blue spell. It's 3rd level, costs 3 mana. 1 point has to be the proper color. If it's a prepared spell, its natural color is blue, so 1 point of blue, and then the other 2 points could be any color that I want. But as a, like, say, a Golgari character, that's a spell guard paladin with black-green color identity. When I cast Counterspell, 1 point needs to be either black or green, and the other 2 points can be whatever I want, which for a Golgari character would also be black and green. But you can spend time researching spells to build downtime into your campaign. You can just make it time spent, like in the case of Ravnica, the Golgari guild, depending on how much renown you have in the guild, the renown level is basically equal to the level of spell that you get access to. Like basically every 5 points of renown that you get on a scale of 0 to 50 gives you, every 5 points of renown gives you access to their research libraries, so you can just start converting spells. So if you have 5 points of renown, they give you access to the libraries to convert 1st level spells. If you have 45 renown in Golgari, Golgari will let you convert any spells from 9th level or lower for time spent. You don't actually have to spend time in your at your guild. You just have to spend time at your guild, and then you can start, however long it takes for you to research, you can start converting your spells to the colors that you want. So in adventuring, if you run across a spell book that's chock full of spells and all of them are blue, then you know that the wizard that has this spell book has spent a shitload of time amassing a bunch of spells that are all operating in blue. So that wizard, when they gain mana for the day, they can just devote all of their mana to blue instead of having to break it up between blue, white, red, green, blah. They've spent the time to cultivate their book, so they only have to operate in the color that they want to. That Golgari character could spend a ton of time devoting all their spells to black, because they only want to have one color in the mana pool. So you can take away some of the breadth that full casters have over half casters by limiting the color options. Half casters naturally silo into specific colors. Rangers naturally pour into green and red, a little bit of white. Paladins mostly pour into white and red, has a little bit of splash of black and blue. Druids are pretty much hard-coded to green, white, and black. Clerics are widely white, black, and red. Wizards are all over the place, but have a very large amount of blue, red, and white, as well as some black. So the colors really define themselves really well. Hi, Hornetico. It's good to see you, my man. Long time no see, dude. So that's the basics of the color mana system. Paladins just get a major expansion of spells available to them. I'm going to separate this here. I'm going to take this this document where all of this stuff is being built. This is like the preloading for me to then go through, get the work edited, and then come back and then drop all the text into Word and start building out the document into a PDF. And like we do on Monday through Friday in the morning, once I have a book laid out into the pages, I start filling in all the nooks and crannies of the book with artwork. And once all the pages are filled with text, charts, tables, and art, I fuse it into a PDF and I publish it on DMsGuild or Patreon or wherever. So, but if you want to see the current play testing, this has literally all 14 classes that are pseudo official WOTC stuff, as well as every subclass from 2014, 2024, all the UAs. It's all inside here, as well as the martial power system in its totality, and how all the other classes operate. I don't have all of the information about like research and translations and stuff like that for MtG, but I have that already published in the books that are online. If you're anyone that's interested in seeing that stuff, can go check out the color the 5 color mana spell point variant rules right here. It's a bundle of books. They all have 100% free preview. I'm going to be updating all of these books for 2024, starting in I think probably late March. We'll be working on these, as well as the Bastion campaign book. So all these books are going to get rebuilt. We're going to reformat them, glam up the art, update all the rules and tech for 2024, and then we'll have the martial powers document. So here's the playtest document that I was showing you here already. You can just follow this link here, and it will take you. It's a read-only document right here. It's a read-only document, but you're welcome to. Sorry, here it is. Color mana and martial powers playtest. and the Mystic Subclasses UA link is here. So last week we translated the Bard, or sorry, the Monk, the Mystic Monk of the Mystic Arts, Warrior of Mystic Arts. Sorry, thank you. So now we're going to focus on the Oath of the Spellguard, the Magic Stealer Rogue, horrible name. Hopefully they can fix that, and the Vestige Patron. Funny story. Back in 3rd edition, when they didn't have an official Dark Sun system, when we rebuilt Dark Sun for my home table, we took all of the Dragon Kings and we made them into Vestiges using the Binder magic system from 3rd edition's Tome of Magic. It was an alternate magic system that wasn't spellcasting. Instead, what you would do is you would form pacts and alliances with these otherworldly creatures, which is what the Warlock is now mostly themed around in 5e. But the patrons that you would adopt in the Binder class, you could have like 15 different patrons that you would pay homage to, and you could step up your level of devotion to individual otherworldly vestiges. So when you would form a pact and bond to that vestige, you would change your physical appearance to take on forms of what that entity would be. Like if it was like a more like Cthulhu sort of thing, maybe you'd get slimy and grow tentacles. Or if it was like the Raven Queen, you'd become like pseudo shadow, and gain wings and feathers. And like you adopt these forms, and you would gain abilities associated with what that otherworldly patron was. This was the Binder character class from 3rd edition. Vestige were the entities that you bound to and gained powers from. So your prepared list was, what vestiges am I bonding to, and how far am I bonding to them to get access to like 1st, 2nd, 5th, 9th level effects. Super cool system. And I think that's funny, because there's a floating theory out there that these are subclasses meant for more Dark Sun. We already saw Dark Sun full caster classes. Now we're seeing Martial and half caster and Warlock subclasses that could potentially work in a Dark Sun setting as well. So I just thought that was really funny that that back in 3rd edition we used vestiges to represent Templars binding to their Dragon King. And whichever Templar was like 17th, 20th level or whatever, the top rank binder that worshiped this vestige would become the physical incarnation of that otherworldly patron. So what was his name? In Uruk, there was I can't remember the name of the dragon god, of the Dragon King in Uruk. But it wasn't so much a dragon; it was more like a lion, like a hybrid shifter, like high level god tier animal lord that was a lion, like lion werelion type thing, like a Rakshasa type creature. So when the top rank Templar of Uruk would take on its vestige bindings, it would basically become that entity, and while it was in the area within proximity to other Templars inside of its city state, it could channel all that psychic energy to take on the form of that actual god. So for you to invade a city state was for you to literally step into the home of a god and try to defeat them on their home turf advantage. And that was a whole thing, but it was super freaking cool. But I digress. It's just I think it's cool. The more stuff that goes on in 5e, the more it seems to connect with what my intuitive and personal history with playing D&D was, and it just makes me fall in love with the game that much more. To see how many ideas we had decades ago are kind of finding their way back into the game now, even though we were just a small fringe group. The mechanics that we played with were super fun, and made for really interesting campaigns. So I see that same potential here, and it excites me a lot. So, having said all that, let's get to work. I'm going to peel out this layer separately here. And if anyone has any questions, you are most welcome to jump in the chat and say what's up. Just going to keep a light hand on the stick over here on what's going on with the sidebar for comments. But we're going to sit here looking at the UA. We're going to be back over here. And we're going to hang out on this back page here to look at the actual powers and spell access that Paladin has. So let's get up in here. The powers that you can gain from this. There's like 120 powers that work on the half casting progression like a Paladin and Ranger already do. But these powers, they're maneuvers and exploits and sustained effects and strike powers and reactions. And it was about 126 of them. Like, for example, smite spells are replaced with all these strike powers. Like Flaming Strike is a first rank power, so it costs 1 mana to turn it on, but you can crank it. A Paladin can crank it all the way up to 8 mana. Plus 1 for free. And then another one for free at later levels at like level 11. But anyway, Flaming Strike, when you hit with a weapon, you can deal fire damage, and it deals a power die of mana. A power die of mana per channeled. So if I put 8 mana into it as a Paladin at like 17th level, I could do an extra 8d10 damage on a smite. So super fun stuff. And there's 26 different smite powers, and as well as the spell selection that the Paladin naturally gets. So we'll come through and look at all that stuff. The Ranger, the Paladin, the Rogue, the Monk, the Fighter, the Barbarian gets access to all these things, but some classes, like the Paladin, use it better than like fighters can, for instance. So everyone has their specialty. Hey, what's up? 26 smite powers is a metric ton of smite. Yes, it is. Some are more useful than others, but there's a wide variety in here that lets you utilize like different types of damage and have different types of condition effects. Almost anything that you can think is a weapon mastery now, like pushing, toppling, stunning, blinding, gaining advantage over people. Those are like cantrip versions of the strike strike powers. The strike powers can ramp up to 5 mana. Well, in the case of the Paladin, it can ramp to 8. But most classes can only push strike powers to 5th level. So like for example, Thundering Strike. I'll just look at this one real quick and then we'll move along. But the first rank Thundering Strike spell power is a weapon deals thunder damage, and you increase the damage by 1 power die per mana expended this way. A creature is then pushed directly away from you 10 feet for each point of mana expended. And that's how it works. So a Ranger, a Fighter, a Rogue, whatever, they have a max channel limit of 5 at 17th level, like a half caster. So if they put 5 mana into a Thundering Strike, they would deal, at first level you deal d6 extra damage, at 9th level you deal d8 extra damage, at 17th level you deal d10 extra damage. So at 17th level, if I spent 5 mana, I could deal an extra 5d10 damage to a target and punt it 50 feet. A Paladin can overclock up to 8 mana. So if a Paladin spent 5 mana and a bonus action on top of it, they could then have 8 mana applied, deal 8d10 damage, and punt a creature 80 feet. So Paladins can outsmite anything in the game. and far more than what a Paladin Sorcerer hybrid could do. This system gives you all the power that like a Sorcerer Paladin Gish multi-class build would give you. Instead of 10d8 as a 17th level Sorcerer and 3 levels of Paladin, instead a 17th level Paladin can do 8d10 worth of damage at the cost of 5 mana and the cost of a bonus action on top of it. The bonus action for a Paladin generates 3 points of mana for free that can get added to any mana from their mana pool. So if I spend 5 mana from my mana pool as a Paladin and then sacrifice my bonus action to boost it, it would at 17th level take it to 8 dice d10, 8d10 instead of in the normal D&D, a 17th level Sorcerer or 3rd level Paladin could spend a 9th level spell slot to deal 10 d8 damage. Instead with this, the Paladin gets 3 points of mana for free with a bonus action, then spends 5 points from your pool to add to that 8d10, 10d8, 8d10. A 17th level Paladin can now outsmite what a can equal what a sorcerer used to be able to do, but now a 17th level sorcerer, 3rd level paladin can only smite for 2d6 damage, because none of those sorcerer levels apply to gaining ranks of power in the martial power system. So if you want to be the best smiter in the game, go straight paladin 17 levels and then 3 levels of whatever you want. You may as well max it out. 3 levels of paladin and 17th level of sorcerer gives you a ton of mana and high level spells, but full casters don't get access to martial powers. Martial characters don't get access to any spell casting. Half caster hybrids, the paladin, artificer, and ranger, gets 5th rank powers and 5th level spells. They are halfway up the road for they can match what martials do and do half of what full casters can, so they get the best of both worlds, but they don't get the high level magic that the full casters get. So there's these interesting divides between the martials, hybrids, and full casters now, but they all use the same mana. They just gain mana at different rates and can use those mana on spells, powers, or in the case of the hybrids, both. But the hybrids never get to the highest reaches of magic and don't have and have between their spells and powers to select, while the martials just focus on the martial powers that they gain and dump all of their mana into just doing martial boosts and strikes and stuff. So it still has that divide. So, but all the martials basically become half casters using this alternate magic system. So the paladin does both as a hybrid. So let's tool our way down. Here's the core progression table of all martial and hybrid characters using this system. Short rest mana, 1 point per level, just like a monk gains. Prepared powers include both fighting styles, weapon masteries, and prepared powers like strike powers that we were looking at, for instance, or like boosted reactions and shit. If a power has you roll dice, it's typically going to be 1 power die per mana spent. At first level, your max rank of power, or the maximum amount of mana you can spend, is 1. Half casting progression. 2 at 5, 3 at 9, 4 at 13, 5 at 17. The power die that you roll with each mana increases in time, D6, D8, D10. This balances really well with how the paladin already operates, with how what's the word I'm looking for? Damage that a rogue can do. This actually works really well with sneak attack. And that you don't have to worry about like the cunning strikes from the 2024 book. Instead, you can either deal your normal sneak attack damage or you gain your maximum amount of mana to spend on a smite. So at 17th level, a rogue has 9d6 damage that they can deal with a smite or with a sneak attack, or they can reduce some of the dice on the sneak attack to add in some sort of a kicker effect. With this system, instead of rolling 9d6, you would roll at 17th level 5d10 plus whatever the kicker effect, like that Thundering Strike. A rogue could use a Thundering Strike instead of a sneak attack. If I just want to deal raw damage, I can use sneak attack anytime that I want. If instead I want to do an effect, I can replace my sneak attack damage and gain 5 points, like at 17th level, get 5 points of free mana instead, and use that strike power for free. So the rogue doesn't get to add smite to sneak attack. With this system, you either use sneak attack or max your smite for free. And so in that sense, the rogue never out deals damage. The paladin remains the highest damage dealer in the game through smite effects. But the rogue can churn out strike effects all day using the same level of damage that they had. So they become excellent strikers. So we'll look at that later on as well. But that's the basic scaffold for how all the casters work. And yes, 1 mana per level is pathetic and isn't nearly enough for you to have a really good Gish feel to it. So we introduced the concept of temporary mana. Temporary mana allows you to exchange action economy to generate mana that you can accumulate and spend before the beginning of your next turn. When you take the attack action, for each attack that you sacrifice, you gain a point of mana. So if I want to channel a power as a bonus action, I could sacrifice my attack action, and a 5th level monk or paladin or ranger that gets 2 attacks, I could sack both of those attacks, generate 2 free points of mana that I could then use on my bonus action. And I could sacrifice my reaction to gain a point of mana. I could sacrifice my bonus action, and depending on what level I am, my bonus action is worth either 1 point. At 9th level, it's worth 2 points, and at 17th level, it's worth 3 points. So that 17th level paladin, I can normally spend 5 mana from my mana pool. I could sack like 2 attacks and my reaction to generate 3 points of mana, and then I could sacrifice my bonus action to generate another 3 points of mana, but I've already sacrificed both attacks and my reaction, and now I just sacrifice my bonus action. Although I just generated 6 points of free mana, I don't have anything to spend it on. So you want to keep some of your action economy, but action economy you sacrifice generates mana only in combat. So while you're in initiative and doing combat, you could sacrifice your bonus action every round, and at 9th level, that's giving you 2 free mana that you can use as part of a reaction, like an opportunity attack, or like some sort of a reaction to conditions on the battlefield, or you could use that mana during your attacks to like gain free mana to deal extra smite damage, for instance. So the action economy, it's low levels, but constant. While you're in combat, you can, if you want to sacrifice some action economy, you can use powers every single round and never touch your mana pool. So your mana pool can be used during exploration and social encounters outside of combat, or if you really need to burn something down, you can sack your mana pool and your action economy to just burn something out in combat. But then you're going to need to take a short rest, because all these classes get mana back on a short rest. So you can burn through your mana pool and then take a short rest, and now you're outside of combat doing exploration and stuff, and you got your mana back. Now you can boost ability scores, gain new perceptive abilities, get proficiency in different skills or expertise, different movement modes, blah 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 blah. So that's the idea. So we're going to this is the screen that we're on. We're going to take this one down. Here we are on disciplines here. Let's take this individual screen here. So we may see some action economy opportunities arise during the creation of the subclass. But for now, let's just look at the scaffold of how the Paladin has been rebuilt using the system. This is the same thing we did last week with the Monk, Warrior of the Mystic Arts. So we'll get to the end of the Monk list, and then we'll get into the Paladin. We'll look at how the Paladin operates, and then we'll proceed from there. So Paladin, here we go. Again, it has the short rest mana accumulation. If you wanted to go on a long rest, this would double. It'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It would cap at 40 points. If using the normal Vancian spell slot system, when you add up all the spell levels of all the slots, it equals 41 mana. 2 5th level, 3 4th level, 3 3rd level, 3 2nd level, and 4 1st level. All of those levels together equals 41 mana at 21. So this is 20 on a short rest, but if you want to do the normal, like the default long rest for a Paladin, it would be 40 mana on the long rest, and then you could just choose to break it up into 2 5th level spell slots, 3 4th level spell slots, 3 3rd level spell slots, 3 2nd level spell slots, and you'd only have room for 3 1st level spell slots, or you could take one of those 5th level spell slots and turn that instead into 8 1st level spell slots, or you could have no 1st level spell slots and instead have 5 5th level spell slots. It's a mana pool, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. 1st level spell is 1 mana, 3rd level spell is 3 mana, 9th level spell is 9 mana. It's so easy and intuitive to use, but because mana is so flexible, all the character classes and subclasses in 2024 that get free spells, like the Archfey, for example, can cast Misty Step a number of times for free equal to your charisma bonus. We got rid of that because you have so much mana, you don't need free spells. So instead, we translated into like the system works that like when you cast Misty Step without using a spell slot, here's all the cool kicker effects that you get on top of casting Misty Step as a bonus. But because you can only do it X amount of times per day with your charisma bonus, that keeps it in check. Our system, instead, you always spend mana to cast these spells, but for you, in this example, Misty Step would only cost 1 mana, not 2. But if you want to use kicker effects with it, like the Archfey has, each kicker effect costs an extra point of mana. So Misty Step itself is super cheap for you to use infinitely. You can cast it 80 times per day. You have a ton of mana available to you. But if you also wanted to cause an explosion when you leave, and an explosion when you arrive, and teleport one of your friends with you when you teleport, Misty Step, exit explosion, entrance explosion, and pick up a friend, it'll cost you 4 mana to do that each time. With a pool of 80 mana over the course of the day, you would be able to do that 20 times. But there's so many effects, like you can stack up like 9 effects onto that Archfey Misty Step. And if you wanted to dump in enough mana, you could do it all. So we give you massive flexibility because you're spending, just like a sorcerer would spend extra mana to trigger meta magic effects when you're casting a spell. In this instance, the Archfey has that same flexibility of being able just to, all of its abilities are just opt-in. I can just tag these things on when I teleport, which makes the Archfey an incredibly fucking cool class. But you don't need free castings of the spell because mana pools are so flexible and they give you so many low-level spells that we don't need to give you free castings of low-level spells. Wizards gave us free castings of low-level spells is because they are quietly admitting they don't give you enough spell slots at low levels, but they're bound into this spell level Vancian magic curve because of legacy and reasons. They aren't willing to abandon that for a more logical one-to-one point magic system, which makes Magic the Gathering color magic possible in the first place. So I don't begrudge them. It's a design restraint that they have to operate and be creative with that we don't have using color magic. Because of that, we solve problems different. We're not just going to blindly accept that, yeah, we're going to give you free castings of spells and a mana pool. No, we gave you the free castings because the spell slots were so restrictive. If we instead get rid of the spell slots and make you choose something like, I could cast a 6th level spell, or I could Misty Step an extra 6 times today as a Warlock, that's a compelling argument. Considering all the kicker effects you can add into Misty Step. All the classes have cool stuff depending on what kind of a class it is and how they can, like, they all bend the rules in different ways like that, which makes them fun, but they all use the same mana resource. So the more you break up your character classes to get access to more cool stuff, you can do more cool stuff, but it won't be as awesome as a single class. Like a single class Warlock Archfey is going to be able to do so much more with Misty Step than a 3-level dip that goes into Paladin and Ranger for another 5 levels each, for instance. Like everything is tied to single class. If you want to be the best at what you do, multi-classing will never get you there. You have to stay in your own class and build, which I think is proper design for class systems with multi-class options. Yeah, multi-class as much as you want. You'll have a wide range of things that you can do, but none of them are going to be above a simmer. They can't hit those high temperatures that your high-level characters can. And to me, that's good game design. But since I'm just a small nobody content creator, I can afford to explore these ideas and demonstrate how they can work without risking changing the complete power balance of the entire 5e ecosystem. That's the challenge that WOTC has. So I will never disparage them for taking baby steps. But at the same time, we can see what could be possible if they were willing to do so. So, cheers. I'm rambling a lot this morning. We'll see if we get anything done. Looking at the class channeling, you gain both powers and spells rank 1 to 5 at 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. With the martial power system, full casters are single ability score dependent. Like wizards, all they need is intelligence. Anything else is gravy, but what they really need is intelligence. Martials and hybrids need like strength or dexterity. Also need constitution. Needs a casting stat. And if it isn't wisdom already, they also need a decent wisdom for resisting saves. So with this system, we always give you a variety of, we always give you 3 choices for your casting, for what your channeling stat is. And with this system, spell casting is inside of channeling. So your character channels powers, and the hybrids can also channel casting spells that they know. Instead of being a spellcaster, they are a channeler capable of casting spells as well. So we changed the frame of reference. So as channelers, a paladin can choose strength, wisdom, or charisma. It doesn't really matter which one it is. If you go with strength as your stat, then your aura of protection is based off of strength. If you decide that wisdom is your thing, then ability score bonuses that get spells and powers and stuff that get modified by your casting stat would use wisdom, not charisma. If you wanted to use charisma as your primary stat, be welcome to do so. That option is far more relevant when you multi-class than if you were to single class. If I single class as a paladin, I could switch. Like right now, strength is currently higher than wisdom. I'll go with strength as my max stat. I'm eventually, I want to get into being a warlock or a bard with my paladin. Both of those guys use charisma, so I'm going to instead make charisma my primary stat. Although my attacks and weapons and stuff will still use strength and dexterity, all my spell casting and class features will key off of my channeling stat. So we're adding flexibility there and changing your narrative about how your character operates. We were talking about generating free mana during combat to cast to channel powers. Paladins, rangers, and artificers can use generated mana during combat to cast spells and channel powers. But you can only do so during combat, and the only spells that you can channel are either instant or concentration spells. If it has a fixed duration that doesn't require concentration, like Lawn Strider or Mage Armor, for instance, those don't have a concentration effect. So if you generate mana during combat, you wouldn't be able to cast Mage Armor. You could cast Stone Skin because that has a concentration duration, or you could cast Fireball if it's on your list. It's still going to cost 3 points of mana. And if I sacrifice my bonus action to generate, say, at 9th level, 2 points of mana, I'm still going to have to spend a point from my mana pool or burn my reaction to generate those 3 points of mana to cast Fireball. But all I have left is an action, which could be either 2 attacks or magic action. Of course, I can move. I'm basically condensing my action economy to doing less and ending my turn sooner. But with what I have left, with what I have in my turn is bigger flashbang. So it actually balances out against the fat, thick, huge mana pool that full casters have. Yeah, I can fling out 24 fireballs a day. Let's just keep them going. But you're not going to have 24 rounds of combat in a day. Most campaigns won't have 24 rounds of combat in a day. So my Artificer that gets access to Fireball isn't going to be lobbing 24 fireballs for free per day. It's going to be limited by how much combat we have. But when I'm in combat, I can punch shit out. This is great for healing, just dealing damage, nuking on stuff. It's a lot of fun, and it allows players to reduce their duration of their round, of their turn during combat, and do bigger, badder things. So they finish quicker, we have more table rotation, and everyone's cracking out shit if they want to. Everyone's cracking out shit like full casters, even though they're using a half casting frame. You see how that works? We can cheat the system by reducing the actions that you have to do more with the actions that you use. And that, for somebody that likes to build, like the deck building style of character building back in 3rd edition with prestige classes and multi-class combinations, we would combo stuff and feats and stuff together to build specific results. So our characters solved dungeoneering by this multi-class combination and feat combination and prestige class combination would let me do this. Like damage people while I run along walls, for instance. You can duplicate that with this system with different powers, multi-class combinations, and spell selections to use your mana pool to generate the type of effects that you want to impact in the dungeon space or in your campaign. That's the idea. So mana accumulates, spellcasting we talked about. Lay on hands, it does what you expect it to do, but with this system, lay on hands also heals mana. Every 5 hit points that you sacrifice during a lay on hands, each 5 hit points equals 1 mana. You don't gain any hit points, but at 20th level, you have 100 hit points of lay on hands, which translates into 20 points of mana that you can heal your team. So you become a mana battery as a paladin, on top of all the other shit that you can do. 3 had some crazy stuff like that. Hell yeah, it did. Like instanting minions every time they entered your reach with a chain whip. Oh my god, yes. Yeah. Fun stuff like we can duplicate basically any crazy shit idea that we had in 3rd edition. This system is designed to be able to reproduce or translate those ideas into a 5e game engine. And because everything is prepared, you can switch your chassis. Your chassis is going to stay the same, but all the spells and powers that you prepare can change. Like everybody can change at least 1 power or spell with this system every long rest. So like if you spend a bastion turn of downtime activity, a week of downtime researching and stuff like that, while you're doing that downtime, you can also be retooling your selection of powers and feats and stuff to align with what you think your next mission is going to be. Like whatever it is that we're researching, preparing for our next mission, I'm also going to sculpt my selection of powers and spell selection to complement the goals that we have inside of that adventure. Just like a wizard, a druid, and a cleric can change all of their spells every long rest, instead of all the other classes only being able to change 1 spell when they gain a level, for instance. Now everyone else can change 1 spell or power every time they finish a long rest. So over the course of a bastion turn or a downtime week, you can swap out 7 powers, which is normally all you need to do to specialize. Normally it's only 3 or 4 powers. Hey, what's up? I've been trying to refine a Swiftblade style class. God, yes, Swiftblades are fucking cool. So I've been deep in the weeds and weird character. Very nice. I love the Swiftblade. That was such a fun it was basically permanized haste. One of the powers we have on here. It costs 3 mana to turn it on, and if you're 9th level, it's the only thing you can have active. It's the only aura that you can have active on your character at a time. But the celerity power is basically a permanent haste effect that is only deactivated by Dispel Magic, and if it is, it doesn't stun you. So it's a really fun martial option to be able to start. And there's so many like extra attacks through mana, and speeding up your movement by pumping mana, running along walls, running across water. These are all things that you can do with mana or character classes. So yeah, you could easily build a Swiftblade. It's just which class do you want to build that's going to change its flavor. Sorry, I'm a little snotty still. Lay on hands, yeah, you can heal mana with it. Divine Smite, again, through level 2, 5, 9, 13, 17. Max level is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's your mana stack. 17th level, you can cast up to 5 mana. But if you sacrifice your bonus action, so you can smite every attack. Just like in 2014, fighters, rangers, paladins, rogues, any martial character can, anytime you hit opportunity attack, normal attack, bonus attack, whatever. Anytime you hit with an attack, you can either use a weapon mastery for free like a cantrip, or you can spend mana for a smite power. And when you do, it deals extra dice of damage. So all the martial power characters can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 5 at 17. And if you wanted to, you could sacrifice your bonus action to generate some of that mana, right? If you sacrifice your bonus action at 1st level, it's 1, 9th level, it's 2, 17th level, it's 3. So a 17th level fighter could burn your bonus action to generate 3 points of mana for free, sacrifice 2 attacks off of your attack action, and basically get 5 points of mana for free to hit for an extra 5d10 damage. That's great. The Paladin is different though. When a Paladin uses a bonus action to generate mana, you can also use that to smite. So it does normally when you sacrifice action economy, it generates mana and you operate within the normal rules of the game. But I as a paladin, I get 5 points of mana normally at 17th level, and if I burn my bonus action to generate extra mana, I can add that mana. So instead of having a cap of 5, 3 was paid for by smite. Instead, I could burn my bonus action to generate 3 points of smite damage and add up to 5 extra points to it to get that 8d10 damage we were talking about earlier. So that's the big difference with Divine Smite. It can do far more damage in Smite. So you can dump lots more mana into it than any other character in the game can. And you get the extra die versus undead. It's always radiant damage if you choose. And this replaces all the paladin smite spells in the game. This is a better system than the current smites. Full casters, if they get access to smite spells, can still use the smite spells as normal, but they don't have the same level of flexibility and just raw damage that these strike powers in the game do, especially if you're a paladin. Subclass, Channel Divinity. Channel Divinity, if you sacrifice your Channel Divinity, you gain 2 extra points of mana. Conversely, if you burn 2 points of mana, you can get a use of your Channel Divinity back. So if you have a really cool Channel Divinity feature, you could burn your entire mana pool just using Channel Divinity instead of casting spells or using powers. The Cleric gets that too. You can just burn your entire mana pool, Channel Divinity stuff. If you have good Channel Divinity features, that is a compelling route to go, like an extra plus 10 to hit for 2 mana. Let's go. A 17th level Cleric? Yeah, I'll do that all fucking day. Let's go. It's worth. Your feet, extra attack, Faithful Steed. I left that in here because they gave it to us. I really like the idea of just making this a floating, like you just get a bonus spell or power. Like just get an extra 2nd level bonus power. You always have it prepared. There you go. You know, it's just a thing. It's more like a ribbon feature than anything else, but there it is. Aura of Protection, 6th level. We change it. It is equal to must make a saving throw. The creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to your max rank of power gained as a paladin. So at 6th level, your max rank is 2, 2nd level spell. By 17th level, it's 5. Instead of having a 20 charisma at 4th level and giving everybody around you a +5 bonus starting at level 6 through level 20, I think that's broken. I like to scale it up. So instead, it's equal to your rank. So at level 6, the bonus is +2. By 17th level, it will again be +5, which is where we're at. This is just delaying it so that bounded accuracy curve of difficulties anywhere from 10 to 30. By having +5 at the very beginning, you max that stat and it never gets better. If you have it start at +2 and then build up to +5 over time, you still end the same, but it stays more in pace with where saving throws actually are at inside of the game. You don't automatically outclock everything. I think that's an important note. You can ignore me if you want. All of these are just options. This is just alternate systems, variant rules. Take what you want. I recommend use it all together for the full experience, but you can pick and choose what you like, of course. Abjure Foes, magic action, expend one use of your Channel Divinity feature. This is just the straight Abjure Foe from the ability, except that we can regain Channel Divinity as often as we want for 2 mana. Aura of Courage, same thing as before. Nyx's Frightened Condition. Restoring Touch, 14. Lay on Hands. It's the same thing. It's just lets a restoration for 5 hit points. Epic Boon. There you go. It's nothing. It's all very much the same, except it's been tweaked and changed to reflect what martial powers are capable of doing and making it a mana-focused character. Notice how all the cool things that the Paladin can do, you can sacrifice for extra mana or gain additional uses of instead of using spells. So, and you can't generate mana with action economy to regain a Channel Divinity. You have to take that Channel Divinity out of your mana pool. But then you can use Lay on Hands to get that mana back to use Channel Divinity again. So 10 points of Lay on Hands is equal to 1 Channel Divinity. That's how the system clocks. So we grab the template here of the Oath of Power, and we're going to scroll down here into Forsaken subclasses, Faerun, Oath of the Noble Genie. And then what's after that? We'll go to Forsaken Subclasses, Oath of Conquest. This was Athos. I think that was from Athos. No. That was just from the Player's Handbook, 2014, but it didn't make the grade for 2024. So let's drop this one in right here. And we'll come up here and we'll grab this. This will be UA Oath of the Spellguard. I've used martial powers 16 to 20 and in a live campaign from level 1 to 10 so far. And we're currently doing playtesting on my Discord server on Saturday mornings at 8th level right now. We'll go 8th level this week, 10th level next week, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So by the end of March, we'll have used martial powers in short one-shot games, scaling up to level 20. We ran a full campaign from level 3 to 10. I did some early playtesting, level 1 to 5. We did some late game play testing, level 16 to 20. The only gap in the game we have right now of actual live play testing is between level 10 and 16. So we're just going to pepper that in with some one-shots here throughout the next couple months. Anyone that's interested, my access to my Discord is right here. Free access to join. Be welcome. Check out all the free content that we've been using to build these tools. Books that I've already published that you might think are interesting. It's all full of my art and ideas. Be welcome to check that stuff out. So, here we are. Oath of the Spellguard. Yeah, we're going to swap that in. Get rid of that. Oath spells. The following spells are at your prepared list without counting towards the maximum number that you have prepared. 3, 5, 9, 13. We're going to swap these. Because paladins get 10 spells already, we don't have to make any changes. And because these are, like we were talking about earlier, because they're bonus spells, they can be any color that you want. A Golgari Spellguard, a Boros Spellguard, an Azorius Spellguard, a Lorehold Spellguard. They all have the same Oath spells, but they would all use different color mana to cast them because their identities are devoted to different colors. What's up? Glad to hear your playtesting is going. Yeah, it's going really, really well. I'm so busy with playtesting my own current stuff that I really do understand. Yeah, oh my god. If you're going to build something good, it's going to take time. It just does. So, blessed to me, I have people that are willing to playtest with me every week. And I've been DMing for 38 years. It's like, this is what I do. With God's grace, I'll be doing this for another 30, probably, I bet I'll start slowing down in my 70s. So I got another 20 years at this. I've only been building 5e content for 7 years. I've been illustrating books for about 25 years at this point. Now I illustrate my own books because it's more fun being my own art director. And it's fun getting paid for a book. A lot more fun getting paid for a book over time with people just buying more and more copies of books than it is to get paid a lump sum for just a single piece of work that I might not continue to own the rights for. It's a very different paradigm, and it's incredibly delayed gratification. So, helps keep my dopamine regulated. Let's transpose these spells. Let's get them into our book. Let's transpose these spells. Let's get them into our book. Here we go. All right, so let's lay these in. Detect magic. Shield. That's a fucking great list already. Fucking shield. See, invisibility. Silence. Being able to do all your own art is really nice. Oh my god, yeah, it is. It's amazing. It is amazing. Counter spell. Dispel magic. What a list. Jeez, these are such good spells. Yeah, I'm very blessed to have started as an artist and became a book creator later freedom. And then Odie's resilient sphere. Hiccup. Circle of power. Hallow. I love these spells. This spell selection is amazing. Spellguard Strike. Let's see how this works. I have no idea. I haven't looked at this. So I have no idea what we're stepping into. I don't know how it's going to modify stuff. We're going to see what they did, and we're going to see how it jives with what the Paladin currently is. And we're going to end up with an end result. So I'm going to go back to here. We're already in the list of powers here. So I'm going to take this folder here and drop it down to the front end of the Paladin, so we don't have to flip back and forth. We'll have multiple tabs carrying us from section to section. Paladin, here we go. So we want to stay up here in Paladin and look at our class features to know what we're doing. So let's go. Let's learn more about the Spellguard Strike, shan't we? When you see a creature within your reach casting a spell with VSM, you can take a reaction to make a melee attack with a weapon or an unarmed strike against that creature. Is that it? Okay. Oh, we also get Guardian Bond. I don't want to skip that. Okay. We also get Guardian Bond. I don't want to skip that. Give me a second here. We'll grab some of this and just drop it in the frame. There we go. This is called Guardian Bond. Thank you. This is called Guardian Bond. Thank you. Guardian Bond. As a magic action, you can expend one use of your channel divinity to forge a divine bond with a willing creature within 5 feet of yourself. The bond lasts for 1 hour or until you have the unconscious condition. For the duration, while the bonded creature is within your reach and is hit by an attack roll, you can take a reaction to add your charisma modifier to that creature's AC, possibly causing the attack to miss. You can end your divine bond at any time, no action required. If you already have a divine bond with when you forge a new one, the previous bond ends. Within 5 feet, I always change these things. We can do this. This is a decent ability. It's not revolutionary. We got some translating to do with it. I'm gonna crack open a Word document over here, cut paste, grab that, drop. We're gonna drop it in here, and then we're gonna translate it. But I already know how to work this one. I like what it represents, but we can do better. Or rather, we can make it more. We can make it align with martial powers more efficiently. There. Okay. So. As a magic action, you can expend one use of your channel divinity to target a willing creature within 5 feet of yourself. Channel ability to form a bond with a willing creature within 5 feet of yourself. The bonus lasts 1 hour until you have the unconscious condition. For the duration, unconscious condition. For the duration, while the bonded creature is within your reach and is hit by an attack roll, you can take a reaction to add your channeling ability modifier, minimum +1, to that creature's AC, possibly causing the attack to miss. You can end your divine bond at any time. If you already have a divine bond, when you forge a new one, the previous bond ends. I love that this is within reach, because one of the powers we have is Extend Reach. For each point of mana that you spend as a sustained power that you turn on and leave locked on, for each point of mana, your reach expands by 5 feet. So that's a fun ability. If you want to be a wall guard or a defender, Extended Reach is really useful to trigger all sorts of reaction effects like this, some of which don't actually require any action economy at all. This one does, but many of them don't. So I love that. I am perfectly happy with this ability as it's listed. Just with that little modification for the relevant ability score. We have our Oath spells loaded in already. Resilient. Let's look at Spellguard Strike again. When you see a creature, okay, yeah, we're going to improve this a smidge. When you see a creature within your reach, taking the magic action,
or magic action, casting a spell or channeling a power,
you can take a reaction to make a melee attack with a weapon. To make a melee attack. There. With this system, unarmed attacks, natural weapons, and weapons, it's all just make a melee weapon attack. All those things, unarmed attacks, natural weapon attacks, and weapon attack, and armed with equipped with a weapon. Those are all considered melee weapon attacks with this system. So it simplifies the language by including more things in that umbrella. So let's see what else we got. Aura of Concentration. This might not need any changes.
This'll work. Paste, bop, bop.
So in your aura, you're already getting a bonus to your saving throw equal to your channeling ability modifier. On top of that, your aura protection fosters mental focus. You and your allies have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration while in your aura of protection. You and your allies have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration from taking damage while in your aura of protection. Using the color mana system, there's every time you make a saving throw, if the result of that saving throw doesn't equal your concentration check, you lose concentration. A concentration check is 10. The DC of a concentration check is 10 plus the level of spells that you are maintaining concentration on. So a 9th level paladin can maintain concentration on up to 3 levels of magic. It could be a single 3rd level spell. It could be 3 1st level spells. It could be a 2nd and a 1st level spell. All of those, in any of that combination, the DC is 13. So when you make a saving throw at all, if the result of that saving throw isn't at least 13, you lose concentration. So I could trip you, I could grapple you, I could shove you, I could hit you with Ray of Frost cantrip. All of those require strength, dexterity, constitution saving throws. Any of those saving throws, if I don't hit at least a DC 13 while concentrating on 3 levels worth of spells, I will lose concentration on all of those spells. In the instance of taking damage, it still works the same. In my instance, the minimum is a DC 13 or half damage, whichever is higher. So if I take 20 points of damage, the DC is only 10. But if I'm maintaining concentration on 3 spells, the DC is 13. So my Constitution saving throw against that damage will have to be at least a 13, even though I only took 20 points of damage. If instead I took 50 points of damage, the DC would be 25, even though I'm only maintaining concentration on 3 levels worth of spells. So it kind of flips the head on there. If I made a saving throw, a dexterity saving throw against a fireball, if I rolled at least a 13 on the dexterity saving throw, I don't have to worry about the damage because the dexterity saving throw is modifying the damage that I take. If the saving throw modifies damage taken, I don't have to make a saving throw for that damage. If I'm hit by like a thorn whip or something different. Let's say a roper hits me with a tentacle attack, and that deals 15 points of damage. I'm going to have to make a DC saving throw of 13 because of my 3rd level spell. And then if it then uses its real ability to pull me in and chew on me as a bonus action, and that has a strength save of 15, if I rolled a DC 14, I retain concentration on my 3 levels of spells, but I also got pulled and got chewed on at the same time. And since being chewed on was a result of me failing the saving throw, just the dexterity or the strength save was the only thing that I had to make. The damage as a result of that saving throw no longer triggers an effect. You see all this? If I just come along and hit you in the face and deal 7 points of damage and you're maintaining concentration on a 9th level spell, you're going to have to make a Constitution saving throw DC 19, even though I only did like maybe 1 point of damage. So it really hits spellcasters hard with this system. But with mana pools, you have so much mana, you can afford to lose spells occasionally because you have this heavy mana pool. That how are you going to spend down your mana pool? By getting shit tests constantly on bullshit saving throws. That if you're trying to maintain concentration on 9 levels worth of spells and you aren't taking precautions to avoid just random stuff, you're going to lose your spell because your tactics are shit. So it's a more tactical system that rewards environment awareness, threat assessment, and creating sufficient guards, like being able to block attacks and stuff like that from your tanks. Your tanks with this system have about 20 different ways to deflect, mitigate, or prevent being targeted or taking damage by you or an ally. So if you want to protect your spellcasters on the back line from getting shit test on concentration checks, your frontline tank is going to want to be a real tank that can goad, provoke, pull enemies off, redirect attacks, nullify attack rolls, minimize damage, help them automatically succeed saving throws, stuff that can help them protect their concentration because it's so fragile when they're caught out in the open. So that positioning and casters are frail means more because concentration is so much more fragile in the system. But you can do more with concentration. So that's the difference. Hey, what's up, Francois? Being able to do all of your own art. Yeah. It looks like I'm caught up. Hey, Francois, long time no see, my guy. So Spellguard Strike. That's how Spellguard Strike is relevant. It isn't just you're potentially making 3 or 4 saving throws each round with the new 5e24 system. So your casters that rely on concentration buff effects like Spirit Guardians is just an absolute lawnmower of a spell that shreds people. But all you have to do is hit him with a Ray of Frost, and if his dexterity is a dump stat, he might lose those 3 points of mana, and his Cuisinart goes down until his turn. That saves the DM from having all of his monsters shredded immediately. And the cleric now has to say, can I reposition myself to get Spirit Guardians up and running again and not just immediately get knocked out again? How can I protect myself from that happening while still doing this AoE that's just going to absolutely shred my enemies? If your cleric can keep Spirit Guardian up between smart tactics, good rolls, and allies protecting and using tactics with them, you have earned the right to shred all those enemies because they can take that spell away from you just like that, just with a javelin and the topple mastery attached to it. You could have 15 javelins come in on you that are all forcing you to make topple saves, and if any of those strength saves drop below 13, you just lost Spirit Guardian. and they've taken no damage because they didn't have to walk into your wall of death. So it's fragile, and it's far more rewarding when you can pull it off. But assuming that Spirit Guardian is only going to last 1, maybe 2 rounds before it goes down, and I'm going to have to cast it again, means you're either going to be very cautious or adverse to using concentration effects in hostile situations, relying more on instant effects like healing your allies and doing flashbang damage, or you're going to have really smart tactics protecting your cleric to be able to do that. Both of them are incredibly rewarding when you figure it out as a team, and every team will have a different strategy of how they protect their concentration engines. So it gives people very clear roles and weaknesses in the 5e game engine. So if you're into tactical combat, this should be hitting a bunch of dopamine triggers for you. So I love 5e tactical combat, and I built this system because this is the kind of shit I want my players to have access to, so I can do things to them so this system can do things to them with the monsters. Like the monsters can do all this stuff too. So I can build, like there was a recent, I forget the name of the channel, but it was talking about like making unique bugbears. Like here's 15 unique bugbears. Well, with this martial power system, you can take bugbear and build 50 different templates, all using the same basic template of what a bugbear is, but then giving them different unique powers that they can use every round or once per encounter. So you either have at will or once per encounter. Very simple gears. I can smite you. I can use Thundering Strike all the time. And because of my CR, I can always push you 30 feet and deal extra damage, like an extra 3 dice of damage. And that's going to hurt a lot. Like that's a good Ogre Mage power. Because an Ogre Mage is CR 8, he's 3rd rank. So he can do 3 mana worth of damage. But because he's an NPC monster, he doesn't need a mana pool. So like 5th edition, you just pace it. So I can use this power. This is like one of the powers, like at 3rd rank, I can use 3 powers per round. Or per turn, and here's a stack of powers I have available. Use the ones that you think are right and just tick off the boxes as you go to know that character is done. So you can have a whole bunch of really unique type of monsters with different tactical states. And we've talked about that before, and we'll revisit it again soon. Anyway, let's get back on track. Because I love talking about this shit. Spell-breaking blade. This may very well just be a thing. Let's grab that. I suspect we already have something that operates inside of this space. Spell-breaking blade. Meh. Let's see how this shakes out. If the spell fails or to stop. Fails to stop. One second. Eternal Spell Guard. Alright, so how does this Spell-breaking blade work? Immediately after you hit a creature with a Spell Guard strike, you can cast Counterspell as part of the same reaction. When you cast Counterspell with a spell as part of the same... When you cast Counterspell with a spell as the same reaction... as part of... Thank you. Sorry, I had some duplication going on here I didn't pick up on. There. Immediately after you hit a creature with your Spell Guard strike, which is a reaction to somebody using a magic action, casting a spell, or channeling within reach, you can cast Counterspell as part of the same reaction. When you cast Counterspell with a spell slot, that slot isn't expended if the spell fails to stop a spell. Okay, so immediately after you hit a creature with your Spellguard Strike, you can cast Counterspell. Maybe not. Let's go to D&D Beyond. And instead, let's look at Dispel Magic, because we changed Spellguard to be more broad. This is what we already changed Spellguard to. No. Where? Yes. Thank you. Spellguard. Spellbreaking Blade. This is the Spellguard Strike. When you see a creature within your reach taking the magic action, casting a spell, or channeling a power, you can take a reaction to make a melee weapon attack. So this is using the magic action, casting a spell, or channeling a power. Counterspell doesn't do anything against channeling powers. Counterspell doesn't do anything against magic actions in general. So the only thing that the Spellbreaking Blade would do anything to is casting a spell, which is weak. So instead, immediately after you hit a creature with your Spellguard Strike, you can cast, and I suspect the answer is going to be Dispel Magic. So let's look at what Dispel Magic does for us instead. Choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range. Any ongoing spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends. For each ongoing spell of level 4 or higher on the target, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability. On a successful check, the spell ends. Using higher spell slots, automatically ends a spell of an equal level spell slot. And then let's look at Counterspell. Counterspell says you attempt to interrupt a creature in the process of casting a spell. The creature must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the spell dissipates with no effect, and the action, bonus action, or reaction used to cast it is wasted. If that spell was cast with a spell slot, or in this case, if the spell's cast with mana, the mana isn't expended. Okay, so that's number 2. That gives us a reaction to counter what's coming, but it doesn't. But it only works against spell casting, which there isn't a lot of spell casting in 5th edition. Most NPCs have been converted over to magic actions to do things to you, not actually casting spells. So what's our solution? Reaction. Let's go look at the reaction. 3rd rank reaction. These are sustained powers. Let's go to... Here we go. Where is it? Where's the 2nd level? There it is, 2nd level. Countering attack. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack uses the magic action or casts a spell, make a weapon attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your channeling DC or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If the save fails, the action is disrupted as though affected by counterspell. So countering attack, it should actually, considering we've advanced the logic and technology, uses the magic action, comma, casts a spell, or channels a power. Make a weapon attack. If it's within reach of your weapon, countering attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your channeling DC or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If the save fails, the action is disrupted as though affected by counterspell. So countering attack fits the bill here. You gain the countering attack. You gain the countering power attack. This doesn't count against the number of powers you can prepare. Immediately after you hit a creature As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack uses the magic action, casts a spell, or channels a power, make a weapon attack. If it hits, copy. Spellguard Strike. When you see a creature within your reach taking the magic action, casting a spell, or channeling a power, you can take a reaction to make a melee weapon attack. And 15, it now upgrades. You gain the countering attack power. This doesn't count against the number of powers you can prepare. Immediately after you hit a creature, you can cast counter spell as part of let's see. Immediately after you hit a creature, when you use Spellguard Strike, your reaction is you can now choose to instead channel the countering attack power. As your reaction. If the target succeeds their saving throw, the mana is not expended. There you go. That's basically the same thing reworded, but it works. You could gain countering attack as early as 5th level. So you might very well be using it for 2 mana while you're using Spellguard Strike. But you don't automatically get it. You could just choose to have it if you want to. But by level 15, if you have it, it no longer costs mana if they succeed. As it is right now, if you decided to take it earlier, if you decide not to take it at all, Spellguard Strike lets you just make an attack anytime somebody uses magic. And because it's a reaction attack, you could channel a strike power into it if you wanted to. Now, Spellguard Strike, you get to layer in countering attack. This power doesn't count against. It doesn't count again, but you can still use a strike power on top of it that dump in more mana if you wanted to. Yeah, free melee attack, same triggering conditions, doesn't cost any mana. If you want to dump more mana into it with a strike power, you can as part of that weapon attack. By 15th level, you automatically have countering attack, and when you use it, you can not only also trigger a strike power on top of it, but if they don't fail their saving throw, you don't spend any mana on the reaction. You get that mana back. And the mana is recovered. Let's word it that way. And then Eternal Spellguard. So I'm happy with that. I'm actually very happy with that. That's a fun translation. It does the same thing, just does it differently. And a little bit better because of the magic action. Because there's so little fucking spellcasters in D&D now. As a bonus action, we can transform into a magical pretty girl and radiate sparkle flowers across the multiverse. Let's see how that actually works. As a bonus action, you can empower your aura of protection, granting the benefit below for 1 minute. Once you use this ability, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can restore the use of this ability by expending 5 mana. Bodyguard. Let's see what it says, and let's see what we can do. Protection from magic. And Spell Ward. Spell attacks roll against you and your allies in the aura. And your allies in the aura have disadvantage. Period. Protection on you and your allies in the aura have advantage on saving throws against spells. And powers. Bodyguard. While the target of your guardian bond is in the aura, that creature has resistance to all damage. Holy shit, that's fantastic. I love that. Okay, great. Yeah, that was an easy translation. Spell attack rolls against you. Spell and channeling attack rolls against you and your allies in the aura have disadvantage. You and your allies have advantage on saving throws against spells and powers. While the target of your guardian bond is in the aura, that creature has a resistance to all damage. Okay, that's great. And we can restore it with 5 aura, 1 minute, no problem. Okay, cool. That's the paladin. Ba-da-da-ba-da-ba. Well done. Let's move on to the rogue. What time is it? It's 12:30. So far so good. So what? I have an hour and a half stop point. I can keep going for another hour and a half. So let's tool our way down to the rogue. We'll look at how the rogue has changed, and then we'll go on and look at the class. Every single 5e24 and 5e 2014, everything that's ever been officially published by WOTC for characters and books, including the Scion UA and all the other UAs that they've made since 2024, they're all in here. And again, this document, for anyone that's interested in looking at the document and potentially playtesting with us, this document is literally right here. Color, Mana, and Martial Powers playtest. This entire system, all 14 character classes with every single subclass ever from 2014 till today. All of it's here. So give me a hot second. I gotta grab some water real quick. I'm not really going anywhere. Just stepping away from the camera. So we'll walk through what the rogue can do now with this martial power system, and then we'll translate the spell thief, the magic stealer. The magic stealer will revise the magic stealer to work with the power system. And then if we have time, we'll build out Warlock. And if we don't have time for Warlock, we will save that for, like, maybe Friday. Something like that. I do artwork Monday through Friday. The books that I publish, I illustrate. So we're doing Eberron adventure artwork in the mornings right now, but that'll be done like in the next 3 weeks. And then we'll move on to the Bastion campaign system, the martial power system, and revising the color magic spell point variant rules for 2024. If you haven't seen the Magic the Gathering color mana spell point variant rules, they are all right here. They've recently hit gold bestseller. Thank you everyone for continuing to support the MtG plus D&D project. It is my pride and joy to produce that content. All my books are 100% free preview, so be welcome to enjoy the art and the ideas. If you are a D&D enthusiast and you want to encourage similar behavior in the future, books purchased is a vote towards more books like that. So if you buy my Spelljammer combat mechanic book, I'll be developing more Spelljammer stuff. If you purchase MtG stuff, I will make more MtG stuff. If you purchase Bastion stuff, I'll make more Bastion stuff. That's just kind of, that's how it works. So let's scroll down here to the Magic Stealer, TM, no rights reserved. I had pneumonia a couple weeks ago, and it's still clearing out of my system. That stuff takes weeks, man. I'm just basically draining globs of death, and occasionally having to hack them up so my Sincerest apologies for anyone that has to listen to that yuck. But yeah, here's all the subclasses for the rogue. Here's the actual rogue chassis. And then here's the rogue chassis. So let's walk through the rogue chassis. Again, hey, just been enjoying Lorwyn. Oh, right on, man. Super cool. I don't buy Magic the Gathering cards anymore, but I watch Ash Lizzle, Covert Go Blue, and Legend VD to stay up to date on what the meta is and what the hot cards are and the bans are at. I haven't been a big fan of Universes Beyond, Expanded Universe. Universes Beyond, yeah. I haven't been a big fan of the Expanded Universal stuff. I'm more of a Magic lore diehard, but I also like mechanics, so I keep an eye on both of those gears because they're both relevant. They're both important to me. So again, using the Martial Power chassis, translating from 3rd edition and 4th edition into 5th edition, it uses the short rest mana, the same as the monk. Prepared powers, this includes feats, weapon masteries, as well as powers that expend mana. It's a half casting progression, so first at 1st, 2nd at 5th, 3rd at 9th, 4th at 13th, 5th at 17th. Sneak attack dice still works the same, but again, it's modified because of power. We can't give you sneak attack and stack strike damage for mana on top of it. That breaks the game, and it outsmites the Paladin. The Paladin is the top smiter in the game. I don't want anything to ever contest that. It is a large piece of its identity that I want to preserve. But the Rogue can crack out damage forever, and that I too want to preserve. So we'll see how we balance that equation here in a second. Everyone has a power die. It's like the martial arts die, superiority die, monks inspiration die. It modifies either it modifies D20 die rolls or damage rolls. So at 1st level, you can channel 1 mana, which is 1d6. By 9th level, you can channel 3 mana, which would be 3d8. At 5th level, it would be 2d6, then 3d8, and then at 13th level, it's 4d8, and then at 17th level it becomes a d10, so it becomes 5d10. And most of the game, most of the math that's inside of the game actually balances around that equation already. Of course, the monk would be d6, d8 at 5, d10 at 11, and then d12 at 17. And the monk uses their martial arts die instead of the power die. The battle master starts with a d6, but at 3rd level, when you take the battle mastery subclass for fighter, it becomes a d8, and then this becomes a d10, and then this becomes a d12. So the battle master and the monk have the largest power dice in the game. So statistically, they're going to do better than the barbarian or the ranger or the rogue or the paladin, blah blah blah. But they all scale, and then you have prepared powers, and again, prepared powers can include weapon masteries, fighting styles, general feats starting at 5th level, as well as like damage types. Like I just always deal fire damage. I can prepare fire damage as a power. So when I hit with any weapon attack, unarmed, natural weapons, melee, ranged, or thrown weapons, I can just say they deal fire damage instead of piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning or whatever. That's another feature. It allows the DM to be creative with immunities because characters can prepare these things on a long rest. So if we're fighting trolls in a magma cave and it turns out these trolls are immune to fire damage but vulnerable to cold damage, and we didn't prep any cold damage, we can retreat, take our rest, swap out something for cold damage as a default, and then go in and always be dealing cold damage when we're attacking these trolls, turning them to absolute shreds. So we can use knowledge and scouting and research and preparation for our encounters to try to discover weaknesses and vulnerabilities, immunities, and resistances that our opponents may have, and then customize our kit of powers that we're using right now against those enemies that we researched. So going through the list of rogue powers, martial powers, channeling as a half caster, we've been talking about it. We get rogues get to make use of action economy to generate temporary mana, sacrifice attacks, bonus action. You can sacrifice your bonus action. You can sacrifice your reaction. On top of all of that, the rogues are a little bit more. So let's look at what we got going on here. So you got your mana on a short rest, you get it back, you get to generate temporary mana during combat. Expertise, gain proficiency, that hasn't changed. Gain expertise in 2 things that you're proficient with, that hasn't changed. Sneak attack largely has not changed, but we now have empowered sneak attack. So when you have the option to deal sneak attack damage, you can instead let's say forgo. You can instead forgo this extra damage to gain temporary mana equal to the max range of rank of power you have gained as a rogue to channel a strike power. Instead. Yeah, let's word it like that. In addition, you always have the martial strike power prepared without counting towards your total prepared powers. So, what does that mean? We know at first level, we can channel 1 power. We can channel 1 mana of power, and that mana will deal d6 damage. We also know that we have 1 sneak attack die at first level, which deals d6 damage. So, at first level, it only makes sense you should be using a martial power strike whenever you can deal sneak attack damage. And again, looking at our extensive list of strike powers, starting at first level, here's a bunch of cool shit you could decide to do. You get the martial power strike for free, so let's start there. Every rogue gets martial strike at 3rd level. When you channel a strike power, when you channel this strike, your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana. Hold on. Let's see. When you channel this strike, your weapon, you deal... No, yeah, your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana channeled. And the power die rolled is 1 size larger than your current die, up to a d12. So Martial Strike, as a rogue, if I use Martial Strike as my first rank power... Oh, wait, I don't get... Hold on. Yeah, we get Empowered Strikes at first level right away. So at first level, instead of just dealing a sneak attack for d6, I could instead channel... I get a free point of mana to channel any strike. I get Martial Strike for free, which deals a d8 damage instead of d6. And the kicker effect is, in addition, you can use 1 combat mastery you have prepared, or that is a property of the weapon you hit with. In this system, weapon masteries are cantrips. They don't cost any mana to use, but they do something like topple, push, grapple, sap, vex, addle, step. There's also little kicker effects that don't deal extra damage but do something. So in martial powers, when you hit with a weapon, you can either spend mana to deal a strike power, or not spend any mana and use a weapon mastery. All weapons have 1 mastery property, and if you are a martial character, you're automatically able to use that mastery with a weapon. So if I'm a fighter and I pick up a crossbow, I can use the push mastery with that crossbow, even if I don't have push mastery prepared. But if I do prepare push mastery as one of my prepared powers, if I hit with a dagger, I could push you 10 feet. If I hit with a hammer, I could push you 10 feet. If I hit with a heavy crossbow, I could push you at 10 feet. Because I have it prepared, I can use it with literally any weapon I'm proficient with. Rogues benefit from that too. So if I use martial power and I have proficiency, say, in Vex, I will then be able to deal d8 points of damage and Vex you. So now I have advantage on my next attack against you before the end of my next round? Hold on. You gain advantage on the next attack against the same target you hit and damage until the end of your next turn. So if I, as a rogue, gain proficiency with Vex, I can start self-fueling sneak attacks. And every time I hit with a sneak attack, I can again, like the martial powers, like the martial strike, I can deal 1d8 damage. Now at 3rd level, I have 2 sneak attack dice, which is either 2d6 or my max channel limit is still 1. So I would still only do 1 power die of damage. So it'd either be 1d6 plus something, or like with martial strike, it'd be 1d8. It's not as good as 2d6, but if I want to use a strike power, it's free. It doesn't stack with sneak attack. It's instead of sneak attack. So sometimes it's really good to use it. Sometimes it's not as good. It depends on where you level up. But in the end, a 19th level rogue has 10d6 damage, which is at most 60 damage. Or when using a smite power, it's going to be at most 5d10 damage instead of, which is a maximum of 50 damage instead of 60. But I can use any kicker effect. Like let's look at 3rd rank shit for fun. 3rd rank is Life-Stealing Strike. Your weapon can deal necrotic or radiant damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. And so at 9th level, I could deal 5d6 damage, or I could do 3d8 damage plus any kicker effect at 3rd rank. So a Life-Stealing Strike. Life-Stealing Strike is only 2nd rank, so at 9th level, it could be 3d8, and I gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the result of the power dice roll. So I can constantly be dumping extra temporary hit points onto myself every time I hit with Life-Stealing Strike, and as a sneak attack, I can do it for free. So 2d8 damage at 9th level, up to 3d8 damage, or and then gain 3d8 temporary hit points, or deal 5d6 raw damage. It's up to you which one's better for you. But at 19th level, it's 6d10. It's 10d6 sneak attack damage dice, or 5d10 power dice of damage plus whatever my kicker effect is. So that's it. It's all roughly the same damage or effects, but it rewards you for taking strike powers because you can basically do them for free. If you want your rogue to instead focus on reactions, exploits, maneuvers, sustained effects, great. Go ahead and do all that. You at least get Martial Strike for free. At 17th level, it's a D12. So at 17th level, it's 5d12 or 9d6. 5d12 maximum damage is 60. So at 19th level, it's either 10d6 damage, max of 60, or 5d12, a max of 60, plus all the kicker effects that you get from the strikes. So the rogue gets a big glam up, and anytime you can sneak attack, you can basically do a strike power for free at your maximum strike. So it can just go literally like all day. But the rogue only gets one attack. So it has limited punch, but when it hits, you can always be channeling power in or out of combat. Granted, if you make an attack roll, it automatically becomes initiative, so you would always be able to, anytime you make an attack, you can always utilize action economy to generate more damage, or to generate more mana. Alright, so continuing on from there, Thieves' Cant hasn't changed, Cunning Action hasn't changed, Uncanny Power at 3rd level, you can okay, so we already know, any martial can sacrifice reaction for 1 mana. When you take the attack action, each attack can be sacrificed for 1 mana each. You can sacrifice your bonus action. It generates 1 point at 1st level, 2 points at 9th level, and 3 points at 17th level. That's pretty good. The rogue can also get 1 point of mana when they sacrifice movement. So if you don't move, you can sacrifice. Yeah, you can sacrifice your movement during your turn to generate 1 point of temporary mana or gain advantage on your next attack until the beginning of your next turn. It's basically steady aim. Don't move, you get advantage on the next attack, or if you don't need that, you can instead generate a point of mana. So the rogue, again, has more options to generate mana during combat than anyone else does. Hey, what's up? Hey, it's good to see you, Steve. You get a feat like usual, Cunning Power. When you generate temporary mana instead of dealing sneak attack damage during your turn, you can choose. Here we go. When you generate temporary mana instead of dealing sneak attack damage during your turn, starting at 5th level, you can choose to channel an exploit, maneuver, or reaction if available. That only affects the target hit as part of the attack, instead of expending temporary mana on a strike power. So, like, for example, let's go take a look at various things that could be done. Maneuver, reaction, or exploit. And it can only affect the target that you hit. instead of dealing extra damage. That only affects the target hit as part of the attack, instead of expending temporary mana on a strike power. When you generate temporary mana instead of dealing sneak attack damage during your turn, you can choose to channel an exploit, maneuver, or reaction that only hits the target as part of the attack, instead of expending the temporary mana on a strike power to deal extra damage and while channeling a strike power. For example, if I hit you with a sneak attack, I could anchor. As a reaction to a creature, you can, if I was using an opportunity attack, for instance, to hit you with a sneak attack, as a reaction to a creature that you can see moving, teleporting, or shifting planes, before doing so, it takes 1 power die of damage per mana expended this way, and must succeed a charisma saving throw. So at this is a 3rd rank power, so at 9th level, when I hit you with a sneak attack as part of an opportunity attack, instead of dealing extra sneak attack damage or dealing strike damage, I instead get 3 points that I'm going to put into Anchor. That Anchor is still going to do 3d8 points of damage, and in addition, if they fail a charisma saving throw, it can't move, teleport, or shift planes until the beginning of their next turn. Falling, flying, and swimming creatures targeted with this power remain fixed in space. Fixed in the space it occupies until the duration ends. Like, for example, let's say an ally of yours is falling off a cliff and they fly past you on the way to their doom. You're 9th level. You're going to hit them with an opportunity attack on the way by, and instead you'll deal like D4 dagger damage or whatever. But instead of dealing sneak attack or channeling a strike power, you instead anchor them so that you hit them and suddenly they become nailed to the sky. And they cannot move, which means they can't fall anymore. They're stuck there, and everyone has a round to figure out how to get them from falling to their death before the anchor ends. You can choose to forego dealing damage if I want. So I can hit them and not deal any damage at all, but that opportunity attack allows me to save them from falling to their doom, for example. I could say, let's grab... Befuddle. That's a 3rd rank maneuver. You can target a creature that you can see to make an intelligence saving throw. If it fails, it can't take reactions until the beginning of its next turn, and during its next turn, it can only take an action, bonus action, or move. Creatures immune to charm roll with advantage. So when I hit you with a sneak attack, and I'm 9th level, I can deal 3 mana of I get 3 mana from my sneak attack instead of dealing extra damage. But with this option, instead of dealing that strike power, I can use those 3 mana to befuddle you. And so now I take away your reactions, and you're only going to have an action, bonus action, or movement next turn. I could sleeper hold. While grappling, you could force the grappling creature. So if I get sneak attack on you while I'm grappling you, I could then force the grapple creature to make a Constitution saving throw, and if it fails, it becomes unconscious instead of dealing extra damage from sneak attack, if it was something I could get access to. What's something else? Flatten. Choose a creature that you can see standing on a surface that can support its weight, up to size large. It takes 1 power die of force damage per mana expended this way and knocked prone. So this becomes available at 5th level. I have access to 2nd rank powers. Flatten is a 1st rank power. If I use this, I hit you with sneak attack. I'm not going to deal extra sneak attack damage. I'm not going to deal strike damage, but instead, at 5th level, I can take those 2 points of mana, dump them into Flatten to deal an extra 2d6 damage because that's the power die at 5th level. I can deal an extra 2d6 damage, and you are automatically prone. So I can hit you with that during an attack, and then if I happen to have the downtrodden reaction, as a reaction to an enemy you can see within range of your weapon becomes prone, you can make a weapon attack against them. And I've already used sneak attack this round, so I can't use it anymore, but this allows me to use my reaction during my own turn, and I can self-trigger that reaction because I used Flatten as a power that knocked them prone, and now I can use reaction. If I just use Flatten as a magic action for a rogue, it could be either a magic action or a bonus action. I channel Flatten, I hit you, you take some. I hit the effect on you, you take some damage. If you fail and you're automatically knocked prone. If you're within melee reach of me when that happens, I could use a reaction, and because you were knocked prone, I have advantage to hit you. So that would then allow me to trigger a sneak attack that I could either deal sneak attack damage at 5th level, deal 2 power dice worth of damage in a smite, or because I have cunning strikes, empowered. What's it called? Cunning power. Because I have cunning power, when I flatten you and I use my reaction to hit you, I'll do my dagger damage, which is minimal, but I'll also deal. I could also, from downtrodden, get that sneak attack in. That sneak attack does, say, D4 damage from the dagger, and potentially triggers a new effect. So let's use Shunt. Shunt is a 1st rank power. Target 1 creature up to 1 size larger than you that you can see per mana expended. And since this cunning power only lets me target 1 creature, the target makes a strength saving throw or be pushed up to 10 feet per mana channeled in any direction. You can roll a number of power dice equal to the mana expended, adding the highest roll to the save DC. So I can knock you prone, deal damage to you on the way down, sneak attack, get Shunt for free, and punt you 20 feet. So these are ways I can combo stuff. And with this system, forced movement triggers opportunity attacks. So I could Shunt you through the area of the reach of my barbarian, and while you're skittering through the barbarian's reach, the barbarian can then make an opportunity attack on you on the way by, potentially using Thundering Strike to punt you over to somebody else, pass through their area of effect. They can then use their opportunity attack to trigger Thundering Strike to potentially punt that character in another direction. So everyone can play pinball with a target if you're willing to burn your reactions on opportunity attacks with Thundering Strike to continuously punt creatures around the board. Or you can do that with Shunt. Shunt can be used as an action and as a magic action and a bonus action. So you could have one target just throwing people around with Shunt. I'm going to punt you over there, and my ranger and his dog's going to get a sneak attack on you on the way by. And when you stop, I'm now going to use my bonus action to push you past the Battle Master, and on the or rather, let's push you past the Cleric, who has the Warcaster feat, and on your way by, hits you with a 5th level inflict wound spell, and basically dumps 10d8 damage on you as an opportunity attack. Like, you can set up combos like that, and monsters can do it too. So soldier types that can do things like that are dangerous. You got to kind of measure the kind of creature that you're fighting against to get a feel for what it might do against you. But these are fun ways to build combos with your characters that keeps the battlefield dynamic, keeps people moving around, and allows all your characters to remain engaged throughout the entire round, because at any time somebody could trigger something on them for them to be able to take some sort of an action. Super fun stuff. Super fun stuff. So that's what Cunning Power does. It's a little complicated, but and kind of technical. But for people that are into tactical combat, this is massive dopamine hits. Uncanny Dodge works the same. Reaction to half damage that you get. Expertise still works the same at level 6 as it did at level 1. Evasion works the same. Reliable Talent is still the same. Improved Uncanny Power. Your ability to generate temporary mana improves. At 11th level, when you sacrifice your movement, or reaction during combat, sacrificing your movement or reaction during combat now generates 2 points of temporary mana each instead of 1. So the rogue is generating shit because the rogue doesn't have extra attacks to generate more mana with. So we're giving them more means of being able to keep up in mana generation with other characters during combat. And then we have reliable power, which is when you roll a power die, like at 14th level, your power die is going to be a D8. So any result that is less than the max rank of power you've gained as a rogue, increases to that number. So at 14th level, you have a D8, and so my max rank of power at level 13 is 4th rank. So at 14th level, I'm rolling a D8 on my power die, and if that D8 is less than a 4, it's now a 4. At 17th level, when my max rank of power is 5, and the die roll that I make is it's a D10 power die. If the result is less than 5, it's now a 5. It just makes my power dice reliable, which is a very roguely thing to do. But it also helps guarantee like the ability bonuses that they get, the damage that they deal is all going to be above average. Slippery Mind hasn't changed. Elusive hasn't changed. Epic Boon hasn't changed. Stroke of Luck hasn't changed. As a 4th rank exploit, you can if you fail a D20 test, you can turn that roll into a 20. What that means is that a 4th rank exploit costs 4 mana to use any time that you roll a die. So in this case, if I fail a D20 test, I can spend 4 mana and I can turn that result into a 20. That mana is an exploit, so I can burn action economy during combat to change that fail into a 20. There you go. This does not automatically. Actually, for 4 mana, I can let it automatically crit. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I was gonna say you can't crit with this, but it's 4 mana to deal crit. And if your crit is max damage, which is what I would recommend, when you crit, you automatically deal max damage. This isn't broken at all. You could use, whatever stacking dice methods that you want for crit. That's on you. But I personally recommend just deal maximum damage. It's not impressive explosion, but it always feels good to deal max damage. So cheers. So we're working with archetypes of power. We now have one built. You'll see here that all of these classes get bonus powers. So all spellcasters get 10 free spells. All martial characters get 10 free powers. So we're going to build out the Magic Thief, Magic Stealer. God, what a horrible name. Magic Stealer. There we go. We're going to rebuild the Magic Stealer using the power system, and then we're going to find 10 powers that are appropriate for the Magic Stealer. That should be fun, but it's also going to take a lot of time. It's already 1 o'clock. We're going to finish the Rogue, and then we're going to come back and we're going to work on the Warlock another day. Faerun, Scion of the Three. Drop this in. Magic Stealer. Whatever. That's a horrible title. How did this go up here? Faerun UA. That's how I should be wording that. And then Mystic UA, Magic Stealer. So bonus powers, we don't know what those are yet. We'll figure them out. So bonus powers, everyone gets bonus powers just like casters do. Everyone gets bonus powers. And depending on what powers you get for free is going to largely dictate is going to be like a big leg up, like in the style of game that you're going to play. Like, are you an ambusher? Are you battlefield control? How do you do what you do? Empower. Okay, let's look and see what empowered sneak attack does. And we have our stack of rogue stuff here that we're going to definitely have to reference. We already have empowered sneak attack at level 1. So we're going to have to change the name of this, but we'll see what it does. What does it do? Hold on. Grab all that. Immediately after a creature you can see
within
copy, cut. Let's drop it in here. Let's see what this ends up doing. Because we're gonna have to. We're definitely gonna change this. I just don't know how yet. There. Okay. Immediately after a creature you can see. Within 30 feet of you, casts a level 1+ spell. You can take a reaction to absorb magical energy from the spell. When you do so, until the end of your next turn, the next time you hit with your sneak attack, you can deal extra force damage. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to the spell's level and add them together. You can take this reaction a number of times equal to your int modifier and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay, I hate that. I hate because it requires a spell cast. Okay, so what's neat about this is that this works with allies. It works with enemies and allies, but it requires casting a spell. So there's so few things in 5e24. There's so few monsters and NPCs that cast spells now that this is always basically going to trigger around your players, around your other characters. So when an ally within 30 feet of you expends mana, you can take a reaction to absorb magical energy from that expenditure. When you do so, until the end of your next turn, the next time you hit with a sneak attack, you can deal extra force damage. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to the spell's level and add them together. You can take this reaction to determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to the spell's level and add them together. You can take this reaction a number of times equal to your int modifier. All right. I like this. I like what this is doing. I like where it can go. Let's do it like this. Immediately after a creature you see within 30 feet of you expends mana. Immediately after a creature you can see within 30 feet of you expends mana, comma. You can take a reaction to absorb magical energy from the spell. When you do so, until the end of your next turn, the next time you hit with your sneak attack, you can deal both sneak attack damage and channel a strike power up to channel a strike power equal to the rank
of mana expended by the target creature up to the max channel, up to the max channel limit you have gained as a rogue. You can regain you can use this feature once per short rest, and you can expend 2 mana to regain this feature. No action required. 1 mana, because 3rd level is only 1. There. So this is going to break the rule. Normally, when you use sneak attack, you can either channel a strike power at your max rank, or you can deal sneak attack damage. With this, you can deal both sneak attack damage and add a strike power on top of it up to your max rank, equal to the amount of mana that your target expended as a reaction. A little complicated. It's a little complicated, but it's a fun system manipulation. So I'm into it. Drain magic. Oh boy, let's see how this one goes. Drain magic. They have to be good because there's a long gap between 3 and 9. You can drain power from an ongoing spell to recharge your ally's magic. As a magic action, you can touch a willing creature and end one ongoing level 1 or level 2 spell on it. The creature immediately recovers covers one expended spell slot of level 2 or lower. You can drain power from ongoing spells to recharge your ally's magic. As a magic action, you can touch a willing creature and end one ongoing level 1 or level 2 spell on it. The creature immediately recovers one expended spell slot of level 2 or lower. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long. Okay, I can leave that be. As a magic action, you can touch one willing creature and end an ongoing magic How do I want to do this? As a max act, I hate this 1st and 2nd level spell shit because, again, NPCs and monsters generally don't use 1st and 2nd level spell slots. This is a player-facing ability, primarily. I want to change that up. You can touch one willing creature. How am I going to do this? That is affected by an ongoing magical effect. Oh boy, this is a little complicated. The spell, I hate the spell interaction because it's so not useful. 1st or 2nd level spell, it's a magical effect could be all sorts of shit, like dream from a hag, or magical effect. That's not a technical term in D&D, so that doesn't actually work. Shice.
As a magic effect. Man, well, first off, empowered sneak attack needs to change because I can't have that. This is we already have empowered sneak attack. How about as a spell resolves? See, the problem is spell casting. NPCs and monsters, for the most part in 5e24, don't cast spells. They just have magic actions and bonus actions that are magical abilities. But without having a spell slot level assigned to it, the scope and sprawl can change radically. Like a Zodar has magical effects that are basically like 17th level casters, but they're not spells. So this is basically... Let's do it this way. Okay, first off, empowered sneak attack. I need to change that name. Let's go with first off, empowered sneak attack. I need to change that name. I can take immediately after a creature you can see within 30 feet of you expends mana. How about Mana Strike? We'll call it that instead. And Drain Magic still works. We're going to just completely change this. As a magic action, you can touch one willing creature. As a magic action, you can touch one willing creature. Let's do it this way. As a magic action, you can touch 2 willing creatures, one of which can be yourself. You can drain mana from the first target up to the max channel limit you have gained as a rogue, and what's the word I'm looking for? And increase. You can drain mana from the first target's mana pool up to your max channel limit you have gained as a rogue, and increase the second target's mana pool by the same amount. There, I can transfer mana. I can take mana from you and give it to somebody else. Monsters generally have their rank is equal to the amount of mana that they have. Like a CR5 creature is going to be a third rank. It's going to be that's a second rank monster. So if I were to touch a willing monster, I could sap 2 points of mana from it and give those 2 points of mana to somebody else if they're both willing. When I do this, how often can I do this? Short or long rest? No action required. How often can I do this? Short or long rest? No action required. You can use this feature once, regaining it when you finish a short or long rest. There. So this is leaning into this is a player ally ability, and since with this system every character class uses mana, it's always useful. Everyone always has mana. At third level, it's only going to be worth 1 mana at a time, and it's only once during a short rest, but that could make a difference. And I had to specify the mana pool because you can generate temporary mana. Temporary mana is not in your mana pool. It's a floating bonus. So I think that all works. Let's go with Magical Sabotage. So far, so good. Magical Sabotage. So that creates a way for rogues to, in a limited manner, heal people's mana pools by transferring mana around.
So let's see, Magical Sabotage. Oh boy, there's a bunch of Cunning Strike options. All right, I bet most of these are available as strikes already, but let's see what you guys got going on here. Let's see what you got. I want to see what you got. Dum, dum, dum. What time is it? It's 1:26. Okay, we'll probably be able to. I gotta bounce out of here at 2 o'clock, so we'll probably get this thing. We'll probably finish this thing. We'll see. I've spent a lot of time pontificating and just walking through mechanics and just rambling about stuff, which is fun, but not necessarily well organized. So I appreciate folks that have been tagging along for the ride. I got to go to a dentist, so I've got basically like about a half hour for me to gear up and kick out of here, and then I'll be back tonight. We'll switch gears this evening, probably like around 5:30 or so. We'll be back online for a couple hours, and we'll be building asteroid communities for the Spelljammer Eberron Bastion campaign that we're going to be running on my Discord server. We're currently making asteroids like in the shape of of D20s, and then splaying them out flat and then mapping the surface of the asteroid for like where communities and lakes and shit are at. So spell or innate ability resolve. As a spell or innate ability resolve. I don't understand that question. Hey, Francois. Can you ask that in a different way and I'll happily answer. In the meantime, Magical Sabotage. You gain the following Cunning Strikes. We don't use Cunning Strikes. Instead of reducing your your sneak attack dice to do other things, this replaces your sneak attack dice to use strike powers or maneuvers or exploits or reactions. So the target has disadvantages on the next saving throw it makes against a spell until the start of your next turn. Spell susceptibility. Instead of, you're trying to word a rogue ability that includes NPC triggers, right? Not necessarily, but NPCs when they have mana pools, their rank is the amount of mana that they typically have available. So a CR9 creature is going to have, that's third rank, it's going to have 3 mana available. So if it's a willing creature, that NPC creature could give you 3 mana, and then you'd be able to give that to somebody else. So I'm pretty content with how Drain Magic works at this point. That's it's become a means of transferring mana from one target to another, and yeah. So I'm pretty happy with Drain Magic as it stands. I think it does the job that I want it to. The Magical Sabotage, however, is a different issue. The target magical acuity is disrupted until the start of your next turn. Whenever the target casts a spell during that time, it must succeed on an intelligence saving throw, or the spell dissipates with no effect. Let's see. Instead, when you deal sneak attack damage instead of when you use, hold on, when does it come in? When you use Cunning Power, instead of dealing damage with a sneak attack or channeling a strike power, you gain the following options. The target has disadvantage on the next saving throw. The target has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes.
Period. Spell or not. Disrupt spell.
The target's magical acuity is disrupted until the start of your next turn. Whenever the target casts a spell, it must make a saving throw.
Oh, let's go with yeah, disrupt. Yeah, we'll go with disrupt spell.
Let's see.
Whenever the target uses a magic action, channels a power, or casts a spell,
it must. This will make it more universal.
it must succeed on an intelligence saving throw,
or the spell
or the
it
dissipates, or the effect dissipates,
or the effect fails,
comma,
and the action, bonus action, or reaction used is wasted.
if that spell
If
the target expended mana, it isn't the mana isn't expended. There.
that's really strong, and that's going to always be useful. That could be on almost anything. Magic action, channeling a spell, channeling a power, or
Casting a spell. It'll work against all of them. And then
choose one kind of damage. If the target has resistance to that kind of
damage until the start of your next turn,
the target loses that resistance, and you gain resistance to that type of damage instead.
this might not be worth 5d6 sneak attack damage dice.
It might not be worth a smite.
Let's see. Spell susceptibility.
The target has disadvantages on the next saving throw it makes.
Magic susceptibility. The target has disadvantages on the next saving throw. Wait, what's up? Soul Succor. Drain a target's mana pool equal to the damage rolled on your sneak attack dice. You gain that much mana. Con save for 1/2.
Ooh. That's a mana loop though. I think I want to avoid mana loops like that. That's a cool idea, but it's a bag of rats.
It's basically gonna allow you to generate almost infinite mana during combat. I don't want to be able to do that. Drain a target's mana pool equal to the damage rolled on your sneak attack dice. You gain that much mana.
That's a huge. At 20th level character at most, a sorcerer at 20th level has 100 mana.
So sneak attack damage dice, that's too much.
But it could be like a power die roll. Like roll a power die, gain that much mana.
Whenever the target
uses a magic, that would not be crazy, and it could be temporary mana.
When you use cunning power
Instead of dealing damage with a sneak attack or channeling a strike power,
you gain the following options.
the target has disadvantage.
Ooh, hold on.
has immunity to that kind of damage. It instead takes half damage, and if it has resistance to that kind of damage, so starting next turn, the target loses that resistance, and you gain resistance to that type of damage instead. This effect lasts until the end of your next turn. Hold on. Start of your next turn, period. Disrupt magic. Whenever this target uses a magic action, channels a power, or casts a spell, it must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or the effect fails, and the action, bonus action, or reaction is wasted. And any... If the target's expended mana, the mana isn't expended. I'm okay with that disrupt spell. I'm disrupted with that. I'm going to have to change it to disrupt magic. I like steel resistance. That's not so bad. I had to add the immunity effect in to make it worth the 3 mana that you're sapping from somebody to make use of this. The disrupt magic is also worth 3 mana because it counters spell and dispel magic. Magic susceptibility is the only one that feels a little wonky. The target has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes. And succeed in intelligence saving throw or the effect fails, and the action, bonus action, or reaction is wasted. If the target expended mana, the mana isn't in addition, you gain a number of temporary hit points, temporary mana equal to the max rank of power you can channel as a rogue. You gain a number of temporary hit points that you lose any unexpended temporary mana at the start of your next turn, period. There we go. That's worth it. Magic susceptibility is probably not worth it. Actually, the disrupt, I put this in the wrong one. Mana is expended. The in addition should be in the magic susceptibility. Steel resistance because of immunity or resistance and gaining resistance, that's worth 3 mana, which is where you're at with 9th level. Disrupt magic, that's worth 3 mana, possibly more in the future. It has depleting returns, but magic action, like an Unearthed Psionic Blast is basically a magic action. I believe it's actually a magic action. It's like you could disrupt a Psionic Blast. Totally worth it at any level. Magic susceptibility, that sucks for 3 mana. That's basically a 1 mana ability. So instead, in addition, you gain a number of temporary mana equal to the max rank of power you can channel as a rogue. You lose any unexpanded temporary mana at the start of your next turn. So basically, this magic susceptibility is hitting somebody with an effect, and it's generating a pocket of mana for you to then use with other abilities. Since you're basically foregoing any extra damage or using any powers at all as part of this attack, instead, it's giving you a budget as a result. It's giving you extra points that aren't spent as a result of this, and doing a kicker effect against the guy that you hit. And it has scaling usefulness, so I think that is a good one. Magic susceptibility is always useful if you don't need it. Steel resistance is useful if you need to knock out somebody's immunity or resistance, or you need some yourself. Disrupt magic is always going to be useful, but it has less and less return, like the return depletes unless you're fighting higher and higher CR monsters, which you should be. Is magic susceptibility still a good name for this? Yeah, let's say it is. Cool. I'm actually pretty fucking happy with that. Occult Shroud. So let's see how this one goes. What's up? Taken by the hand. DC 40, sleight of hand. Spend 1 mana to reduce DC by 1 to a minimum of DC 20. On a successful sneak attack, cut off target's hand. No. Great idea, but that's not really how I run 5e, but I can see that. If you're playing a very hostile form of debilitating crits and stuff for D&D, I could see something like that coming into effect. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can cast the non-detection spell using your channeling. The rogue's channeling ability score is either dexterity, intelligence, or charisma, your choice. Your channel ability as your spellcasting ability. When you do so, you can target only yourself. And the duration. With a duration of 24 hours, period. There you go. So Occult Shroud, that totally jives. I'm down with that. And then 17th level, Improved Drain Magic. Okay. Improved Drain Magic. You can now use Drain Magic as a bonus action. Oh. You can now use Drain Magic as a bonus action. When it's supposed to be capped? Action. A 3rd level spell slot. That's that's improved. Hold on. Okay, sure. Level 13, improved drain. Do I need to improve drain magic? Let's look at see if it's actually necessary. As max action, you can touch 2 willing creatures, one of which can be yourself. You can drain mana from one target and give it to another target. You can use this feature once, regaining it when you finish a short or long rest. Let's upgrade that. We can upgrade that. Improved magical. You can now use drain magic as a bonus action, and you can use it a number of times per equal to your max rank of power. Let's do it once as a long rest. You can finish. You gain it when you finish a short rest. You can use this feature once, regain it when you finish a short rest. You can now use it a number of times equal to your max rank of power gained as a rogue, regaining all uses when you finish a long rest. There. That's better balancing. I'm happy with that. And it's far more than a ribbon feature. Improved. And then 7 Eldritch Implosion. Sure. Let's see how this one goes. And then we have 10 powers to pick, and we'll be done for the day. And we'll get to the Warlock later this week during lunch sometime. When you use Empowered Sneak Attack, you can force the target to make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the spell dissipates with no effect, and the target has the stun condition until the start of its next round. Eldritch Implosion. When you use Empowered Sneak Attack. Reaction to the Sword of Magical Energy. Empowered Sneak Attack. So this is upgrading Empowered Sneak Attack. You can force the target to make a saving throw. Aren't we already making them make a saving throw? No. It's hitchhike on it. Nice. Okay. When you use Empowered Sneak Attack, you can force the target to make a Constitution saving throw. Oh my god, I hate that. You can make the target to make a Constitution saving throw plus. This is again assuming that you're using this Empowered Sneak Attack to absorb magical energy. You can absorb magical energy from the spell. Yeah, we've reoriented so it assumes that you can bleed that magic from an ally or an enemy. This is assuming it has to be an enemy, so I don't like how Mana Strike is set up. Willing creatures here, Magical Sabotage. Yes, we're gonna switch this up. Eldritch Implosion. When you use one of the magical sabotage effects, you force the target to make an intelligence saving throw. If it fails, it has stunned condition until the start of its next turn. That is an excellent upgrade. Monk Stun is 2 mana. Actually, it's 1 mana. Hold Person, which is like a paralysis, is 2 mana, so somewhere in between there. Basically, Eldritch Explosion, when you use one of the magical sabotage, like magical susceptibility at 3 mana, that's decent. 3 mana, that's decent. 3 mana, that's decent. By 17th level, you're basically foregoing 5 mana to do these things, and they're not worth it. But if we tack on the stun effect at level 17, these 3 mana effects plus the second level effect is absolutely worth 5 mana. So that becomes a really good option. So this just completely glammed it up. Eldritch Implosion. I don't know if I like the title of that. Magical Sabotage. Well, hey, Fernando. Welcome back. Hand of Fate. Makes a weapon, a sneak attack, target makes a concentration. Huh. I don't know what you're talking about. Fasten the eye. Spend X mana. Make a free sneak attack once per round. Normal sneak attack restrictions do not apply. No. These are all neat ideas, but none of them respect the power constraints of the 5e24 game engine. I like the ideas, though. But there's very strict limitations and manipulations of mana and damage that one can do in swapping mana around. But I love the ideas. Magical Implosion is bothering you. Let's go with. Let's just change it to Stunning Sabotage. When you use one of the magical sabotage effects, you also force the target to make an intelligence saving throw. If it fails, it has the stun condition until the start of its next turn. Fucking perfect. Oh no, it's a Constitution saving throw over here. Okay, fine, whatever. You can make a Constitution saving throw. Okay, we still have a little bit of time left. So we're now pushing into bonus time. Let's find a stack of cool shit that we can gain. First rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank. And it can be a rank or lower. We'll often not have, like, we don't have a lot of third and fourth. We don't even have any fifth rank powers. It only goes up to fourth rank, but you can upcast the fifth. So we don't have to, like, we can get first rank powers here, first or second rank powers here, first through third rank powers here, first through fourth rank powers here, and first through fourth rank powers here. That's our stack. Hey, Fernando. We are looking at the Minotaur. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Fucking goddamn it. Thanks for telling me. This, yeah, you guys were supposed to be seeing all the shit that I've been working on this whole time. You have all, only you, Fernando, have saved us. This is, again, for everyone that's looking, all this stuff. Here's the UA document here. This is the UA document that we've been looking at in here. This is the Color Mana and Martial Power playtest doc here. This is literally what I've been writing in for the past hour or two. Here's the document here. And here's the document here. So thank you, Fernando. I had no idea that was happening. You have all failed me. What is wrong with you? Fernando, you are top Keen for the day. All hail Keen Fernando, Lord of Observations. Even I failed that fucking perception check. Jesus Christ. All right, so back into the thick of it. We're looking for powers. We're looking for cool powers. Curse of the Clouded Mind. You curse a creature that you see to roll ability checks and attack rolls with disadvantage. I want a different curse. Cursed Brand. You curse a creature that you can see to make a saving throw against you with disadvantage. The effect ends early when the creature succeeds a save against you. So Cursed Brand is a good power. We'll put that in at 5th level. Cursed Brand. Or is it Branding Curse? Cursed Brand. That is a maneuver 2. You people, I tell you. Thank you, Fernando. Fucking people. Distract, Flatten, Goad, Rally, Shunt. We're looking for like anti-magic shit. So let's go into Stupefy is a good one. You can target a creature that you can see to make an intelligence saving throw. If it fails, it has the paralyzed condition until it succeeds on a saving throw at the end of its turns. Creature's immune to charm roll with advantage. Stupefy. Maneuver 4. We have the reaction countering attack. That's a natural one. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attacks, makes a magic action, casts a spell, or channels a power, make a weapon attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against the channeling DC or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If it fails, it counterspell. So countering attack is absolutely a good one to lock in here as early as possible. Countering attack, which is reaction 2. That's twice this month now that I fucked that up. Something's going. I'm in a hurry. Something's going wrong with me that I'm screwing that stuff up. Ooh, Saving Grace, 2nd level reaction. If you or another creature that you can see fails a D20 test, and that the range is always 60 feet if it doesn't say otherwise. The default range is within 60 feet. So if you or another creature that you can see within 60 feet fails a D20 test, re-roll it, and any number of power dice, keep the new result. Saving Grace, absolutely clicking that one in. Reaction 2. Have you converted the samurai to... Yeah, I have. I absolutely have. Every single subclass that already existed in 2014 is already inside this document. I don't have time to look at it right now, but if you remind me when I work on the Warlock, I'll probably work on the Warlock on Friday, and if I have extra time, I will spend time looking at the Samurai with you. I like the Samurai. They're cool. Let's see. Defense Barrier. Fate Spinner. As a reaction to when you or a creature that you can see makes an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, you can alter fate by rolling a number of power dice equal to the mana spent. You can choose to either increase or decrease the result by the highest power die roll. You can expend 1 mana to not use a reaction when you channel this power. Fate Spinner is super good, so let's add that in here. Fate Spinner. And that is reaction 3. Ooh, Hexproof. As a reaction to being targeted by a spell or other magical effect that targets you, a different target must be chosen or the spell or effect is wasted. Any mana spent on a wasted spell is regained. Any mana spent on the effect is regained. Hexproof. We'll put that at 17. Hexproof. That is reaction 4. Let's look at some sustained powers. There might be some tasty stuff in here for us. Or maybe not. We'll see. Giant Growth, Castigation, Strange Metabolism, Thicket of Pain, Tremor Sense. So far, no good. Ghost Walker, Mind Sense, Frenzied Attack, Indestructible, Master of Fate. Ooh, Master of Fate. We'll give him that one. Master of Fate is Sustained Power 4. Master of Fate. When you channel this power, roll 3 20-sided dice. These are fate dice. When you later roll a d20, while this power is sustained, you can choose to replace that result with any of these 3 fate dice. Each fate die can be used once. In addition, while sustaining this power, you can expend 1 point of mana from your pool as a bonus action during your turn to roll an additional fate die, replacing any results or regaining an expended fate die. Unused fate dice are lost when the power is dismissed. So I can turn this. It costs 5 mana. It costs 4 mana to turn and keep it on. But while it's on, I roll 3 20-sided dice and keep those kind of like divination dice. And those are 20s I can just allocate to anything that I do. When you later roll a d20, while this power is sustained, you can choose to replace that result with any one of these fate dice. So for 4 mana, I turn this on and get 3 fate dice. If I don't like the result of any of those dice, I can use a bonus action to spend a point of mana and re-roll that die and keep that new result. And once I spend a die, I can spend a point of mana to re-roll the die, which I can then also use bonus actions to re-roll. So I can burn my mana pool down to get better and better results that I can then spend later on for myself. So helps lock in abilities. Let's see what the 4th rank or lower are where we're still at. Let's see if anything else makes a lot of sense. I bet there's some exploits that'll come up that'll be fun to use. we haven't picked up any strike powers yet. Let's go with Blinding Strike's a good one. Your weapon can deal radiant damage, increases damage by 1 power die per mana channel. In addition, the creature is blinded. The creature can attempt to end this effect by succeeding a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Blinding a target often prevents them from being able to target you at all. So Blinding Strike is a really, really good anti-mage ability. So let's add that in. Blinding Strike. STR2. See, we're pushing up the levels, but we're still finding uses for like low level abilities are still relevant at higher levels. Curse of the Forked Tongue. On unsuccessful sneak attack, add DC concentration or non-reptile spellcasting. Are you botting at me, Francois? Have you been blink twice if you've been taken over by a bot? Let's see if there's we have reactions, we have some maneuvers, some sustained powers. We've got 5 minutes left. Let's get up here into the exploits to see if there's anything cool for us to grab. Subtle channeling. When you channel a power, there's no visual evidence that you are the source. That's not bad. Vanish. When you take the hide action, you can do so even if you don't have any power, any cover. Resilient save. When you make a saving throw to reduce damage, if you save succeeds, if the save succeeds, when you make a saving throw to reduce damage, if the save succeeds, you take no damage, or half if you fail. You can decide to channel this power after you roll the save, but before you know if you succeeded. So resilient save is a really good one. But it's also third rank. Shit, I'm out of third rank shit. So let's drop back down. We got to go to first rank. What's down here? Search, study, influence, quick utility, non-magical tool or equipment you can use or hold. Rush attack, slippery, cooperative effort. When you use the magic action to grant advantage on the ability to check or attack within 60 feet of you, roll 1 power die. Per mana channel, adding the highest result to the ally's die roll. Cooperative effort. To grant advantage on the ability check or attack of an ally within 60 feet of you. Roll 1 power die per mana channeled. Adding the highest result to the ally's die roll. No, that's not particularly Magic Stealer. What else you got? Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Distract. Target creature you can see that can see you cannot take opportunity attacks until it can no longer see you or it succeeds in an intelligence saving throw. Creatures immune to charm, roll with advantage. Yeah, distract. Let's do that. Distract is maneuver 1. Just because I got to fill it in. Distraction's good for target creature you can see and can see you cannot take opportunity attacks. So that's a little helpful. Not super. Let's be real. Goad. No. Rally, shunt. You can see per mana expended, the target must make a strength saving throw or be pushed. I don't think a push effect is right. Let's go. Strike power. I think I have one. Damn it, Axiom Strike is second rank. Goading Strike, Distracting Strike. Caustic Strike, Disarming Strike. Acid Damage. Goading Strike, Martial Strike. We get Martial Strike for free. Psionic Strike is not really the flavor that I want. Reaction real quick, and then I got to get the hell out of here. Reposition. As a reaction to when a creature you can see moves within reach of attacking you with their melee weapon attack, you can move 10 feet. This doesn't count towards your move speed. Interpose as a reaction when out. No, interpose isn't right. Inspired Ward. A willing creature you can see, including yourself, fails a saving throw. You can roll a number of power dice equal to the mana expended this way, adding the highest number rolled to the result of the saving throw, potentially turning failure. That's the one. Inspired Ward. And that's first rank. Reaction 1. There. Lots of just manipulating die rolls and saving throws. Screwing up people's ability to do saving throws, or to launch saving throws at you, your ability to survive them. Perfect. Okay, that's Magic Stealer. And I hate the title, but I'm pretty happy with the effects. That is a cool class. I would play this. I'm seeing that there's more mechanical complexity coming out of the U8 team, and it's translating nicely into the stuff that we already have in the system. That's it. I have to. Yeah, it's 12. It's 2:05. It's time for me to cut out of here so I can go to my dentist appointment. I will be back on in like around 3.5, 4 hours ish, somewhere around there. And we're gonna jump back on. We're gonna do Spelljammer, Eberron, Asteroid, Bastions. We're building settlements and bastions on asteroids. So if you guys are interested in that stuff, stick around, like, subscribe, bell icon, catch up with me in about 4 hours. I'm going to bounce out of here for now. We didn't have time to get to the Warlock, but I'm very interested in the Vestige Warlock. So I think I'll have time for this on Friday. I don't think I have time available tomorrow. If I have time tomorrow, I will. But otherwise, I know I have time on Friday to do this, and I'll plan to do so then. So, yay, thanks a lot, man. I will see you guys on the other side. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And Fernando, God bless. Thank you for letting me know that I hadn't switched my screen around. 10 points to Gryffindor, my dude. I will see you on the other side. Cheers.